History often hides its monsters behind myths. We know him as a creature of the night, a vampire in a velvet cape. But the real man didn't sleep in a coffin. He slept in a fortress of stone, surrounded by a landscape of human suffering. This is not the story of a vampire. This is the true history of Vlad III, the Prince of Wallachia, a man whose name, Dracula, meant son of the dragon, and whose methods turned the Danube River red. To the west, he was a butcher. To the east, he was a nightmare. But in the scorched earth of his homeland, he was something much more complicated. A defensor fidei, a defender of the faith, whose shadow still haunts the mountain passes of Romania. To understand the cruelty, one must understand the crucible. In 1442, young Vlad and his brother Radu were handed over. They were handed over to Sultan Murad II as human collateral. They were political hostages, meant to ensure their father's loyalty to the Ottoman Porte. While his brother Radu adapted, Vlad simmered. He was forced to witness the Ottoman method of justice. He smelled the scorched air of the executioner's yard and heard the screams of those who defied the Sultan. It was here he learned the principle of terror, the use of absolute, uncompromising fear as a political tool. He studied the art of impalement, a slow, agonizing death designed to keep the victim alive for days. Vlad wasn't born a monster. He was forged in the courts of his enemies. He watched, he learned, and he waited for the moment his right of the sword would finally be returned to him. When Vlad finally took the throne of Wallachia in 1456, he found a land fractured by the boyars, the treacherous nobility who had murdered his father and buried his brother alive. He did not offer them pardons. He offered them a banquet. Legend tells us he invited the nobles to a feast in Târgoviște. He asked them how many princes they had seen rule in their lifetimes. When they boasted, he saw it as proof of their treachery. He didn't just kill them, he broke them. The old were impaled, the young were marched into the mountains to build his fortress at Poenari until their clothes fell off their backs and they collapsed from exhaustion. Vlad's rule was defined by a terrifying internal order. It is said a golden cup sat by a fountain in the capital for anyone to drink from, and throughout his reign, no one dared steal it. But his true test lay to the south, where Sultan Mehmed II, the conqueror of Constantinople, was marching with a force of 60,000 men. In June 1462, Vlad launched a daring pernoctum, a night attack. Dressed in Ottoman disguises, his small force tore through the Sultan's camp, aiming for the Sultan's tent. They failed to kill Mehmed, but the psychological blow was struck. When the Sultan reached the gates of Târgoviște the following morning, he didn't find an army. He found a forest. 20,000 bodies, men, women, and children, hoisted on stakes in a line 5 miles long. The air was thick with the stench of decay and the buzzing of flies. This was psychological attrition, on a scale the world had never seen. Even Mehmed, a man who had ended the Roman Empire, turned back in horror, famously saying he could not take the land of a man who did such things to defend it. Vlad died in 1476, likely betrayed by his own. But his story didn't end with his heartbeat. The newly invented printing press turned his life into Europe's first bestseller. German pamphlets painted him as a madman. Russian tales praised him as a harsh but just ruler. These stories traveled through time, morphing, losing their weight, until they reached a desk in London in the late 19th century. The prince became a count. The man became a vampire. These stories traveled through time, morphing, until the line between hero and monster has always been thin. Was he a sadistic tyrant or a desperate patriot defending his sovereignty against an unstoppable empire? The forest of the dead is gone, but the name Dracula remains, a permanent scar on the face of history. EPK Capital. We build wealth for generations. Visit us at www.epkcap.in for insights that stand the test of time. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes and not financial advice.